Hi, this is Randy. Welcome to my channel. Glad to have you here today. Hope all's going well with you. God is a good God. Today we're going to talk about bringing baggage into a marriage. Bringing baggage into a marriage. This happens a lot and it needs to be discussed. But before I touch on it, please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. If you make a comment, I'll get back to you as quick as I can. This is what will help my channel grow when people join. Thank you so much. Commercials over. Let's get right into it. Bringing baggage into a marriage. 1 Corinthians 7:2 says, "But because of immoralities, each man is to love his own wife, and each woman is to love her own husband." This is what the Lord wants us to do, and this is what we need to do. You need to know a person before you marry them. All right? You need to know a person before you marry them. That will really help you out, save you a lot of trouble if you really know the person. Some people bring baggage into a marriage. Now, I know people don't like to hear that, and they say, well, in utopia, everybody gets married, has never been married, and they're going to be married the rest of their life, and everything's going to work wonderful and all that. That's wonderful when it can. All right? There's examples of that. But there's a lot more examples the other way than there is this way, and you need to address them. This may have been, this person you're marrying may have been abused by a man and may have dealt with abuse for a long time. And so she's leery of a man because she was around an abusive man. She don't know about a godly man who loves her and will not beat on her or harm her physically or mentally. And there are still, some women, they're still mad at Joe, and they take it out on Bill because of what happened in the past, because they were abused and treated mean by Joe. And then when they meet Bill and they're talking about getting married, and they get married, they start taking out their frustrations on Bill, and Bill had nothing to do with it. That he don't understand what the aggression from her is and why she's always mad about everything. It's because she has issues, and she brought baggage into the marriage that she shouldn't have brought with her. She should have addressed those issues before getting married. She should have told Bill, hey, Joe was abusive, this happened, that happened, and talk to her pastor or someone that's qualified to counsel and get help with it. I do believe in premarital counseling. A lot of people don't, but I do. And but it really can bring out issues. There's different ways to find things out, so you can nip things in the bud, so to speak. Barney Fife, nip it, nip it, nip it in the bud before it becomes a big oak tree. All right. I've had women say, I found a guy, but I found him on the internet. I say, when you find people on the internet, you didn't go to school with them for several years, so you know them and you know their family. Or you live in a town where it's not real big, you know their family, you know them, maybe you haven't had a lot of interaction with them, but you know his reputation, his families, etc. Maybe you go to church with them, or you work on a job with them. Well, then you understand and know. But when you meet someone on the internet, you don't know. You have no idea who they really are. And so I say run a background check on them. Now, a lot of people says, oh, I hate that, and that'll cost money, all right? It depends on what place you use, all right? I have had some that charged $25, some charged 40, 30. It just depends. But let's say it costs $30. It'll be the best $30 you ever spent if you run a background check on them and find out they're a real problem. It's better to find out before you get connected to them and get attached to them, or maybe even fall in love with them. Then they want to overlook all these things that they hid from them. All right? I've had people say to me, well, I know what I'm doing. I've been married 3 times. Well, evidently you don't know what you're doing. All right? It's like a pitcher saying, I started 10 games. Okay, how many did you win? Well, none. How many of them you got past the 5th inning? None. All right? You say you're a pitcher, but you're not really a pitcher because you're horrible. All right? And so it's best to know about their background and find out if they have baggage that they're going to be carrying into the marriage. You must be careful and protect yourself. You don't know that some people may have a protection order against them, and you find that out. I had one lady, I talked to her to run a background check on the guy. The guy had 16 restraining orders against him, protection orders against him. All right. Not only that, he'd filed bankruptcy, and it wasn't complete yet, and it wasn't over. He filed for it, but he hadn't went to court yet. And so I told her, if you go on and get married to him, all right, right now, you're going to get drug into this, and it's going to be your problem. And you need to find out why he filed. Did he have a bad business that went south? But one thing that's good to know is that he's a spendaholic. He's got $100,000 of the charge card debt, and he can't quit buying stuff. And that's why he's filing bankruptcy. Is he going to stop? I doubt it. So you need to find these things out before you fall in love with somebody. Because once you fall in love with them, it's a lot harder to accept the realities of who they really are. Better to be safe than sorry, all right? Because people can bring baggage into their marriage. Do they have kids? They've been married twice, and they got 3 kids by her and 2 by her. All right? You need to know that before you get married, before you fall in love with them, if that's something you can't handle. I had a woman one time tell a man he had a child, and he was raising the child. And when she found out he had a kid after a couple of dates, he finally told her. She said, I can't be an instant mother. I'm not going to do that. And she just dropped him like a hot potato. All right? Better to find out up front before you get too attached to people whether they have baggage to bring into a marriage, whether they have restraining orders against them, whether they've just filed bankruptcy, or worse yet, they are not paying their bills, and they've got a garnishment against their wages. And they're taking 20% of his paycheck before he ever gets paid. And there's 7 others waiting in line, so when that garnishment's paid for, another one will file theirs, and they'll take his money. All right, so better to find that out. Some people, by doing these checks that I told them about, they found things out when they confronted them, then they fessed up. All right, it's better, because if you fall in love with somebody and you date them for quite a while or whatever, and you decide to get married, and then you find out that they either have restraining orders against them, they've been in jail for beating somebody up, they're an alcoholic, they have children they've been married 5 times, and they have 4 different women they have children by, and they owe all sorts of back child support, $28,000 of the child support, got a garnishment against their wages. All right, women too. This is not only against men. Men should check women out. There are women, I know, I hate to hear it, but it does happen. I've been around a long time, and I've done a lot of counseling the 50 years I've been preaching. And I'm going to tell you something. There are some women that are gold diggers, and there's some women that don't know how to put the charge card down. This is not all a man issue. It's a woman issue also. You can have problems either way. There's not many, but I've known a few women that were abusive to their husbands and hit them, slapped them, threw dishes at them, dared them to lay a hand on them so they could have them arrested, things like that. You need to make sure what kind of baggage somebody's bringing into a marriage before you get married. And if you go out with somebody and you kind of like them and you think maybe, well, I'm going to go start dating them, maybe it's better to check them out and do a little checking before you get too far into the relationship, because it's a lot harder to break up when you fall for somebody, and then you tend to look over a lot of their faults, then they give you their excuses, and then you pass them on to your family. Next thing you know, you're married, and you're like, God, how did this happen? Why am I in these problems? You need, if I was in today's age, especially with people meeting each other on the internet and stuff like that, I'm not against the internet. I'm not against meeting somebody on a website that for singles and mingle with a single or whatever they call them. That I got nothing against that, but you still ought to do a check. It don't cost a fortune to do a background check and check them out and see if they have garnishments, if they have restraining orders, if they have a police record, if they've been married 2 or 3 times. I've had women that that married a man, and they said 4 months after I married him, I found out he'd been married 3 times, and he told me he'd never been married. Now you got a real problem. Then she found out that he had kids by each one of those women, and that he owed back child support to all 3 of them, and that he gave his job up because he got mad because they were taking 20% of his pay, and it was going to happen for a long time. He owed thousands and thousands of dollars. Then it created problems in her marriage because she always managed her money well, had savings, and had never been married, and now she's in a mess. How much, if she could look back and play Monday night quarterback, that $30 or $40 she could have spent to check him out would have been well worth it and saved her a lot of grief and heartache. All right, so you need to know that. And some of them, you check them out and you find out they worked here for 5 months, they worked here for 4 months, they worked here 6 months, they had a stretch of 8 months where they never had a job. All right, maybe that's good information to know. He's probably going to be laying on your couch eating potato chips, watching TV while you're at work supporting him, or vice versa. If it's a woman and and you need both incomes for whatever reason, and she can't hold down a job, and she's been through 8 jobs in less than 2 years, and doesn't have a job right now, you need to know these things. What kind of baggage are they bringing into the marriage? The problem becomes when you marry them and all of a sudden you decide to start checking them out afterwards. That's a problem. You need to check it out before you get too deep into the deal. Protect yourself before you get attached to them. You say, this is crazy. Well, I'm telling you, from counseling people for years and years as a minister, I've ran into this over and over and over. Men that are abusive, and the woman did not know it. It was there to find. There was a criminal record. Could have been found in a background check. They could have had them checked out different ways. They found out they had garnishments. They found out they've been married more than they said. Oh, I was married once, got divorced. They found out they've had four wives. And the 3 of them that's got kids, et cetera, et cetera. We kind of covered that. But what I'm trying to tell you is best to find this out up front. Then you can just cut it off. You're not attached to them. You haven't fallen in love with them. And you think, well, he sure looked nice, but it's just more baggage than I can handle. All right? And if you fall in love with somebody and then you find out all these problems, you think, oh, I can handle it. We can work this out. No. You need to take care of it right away. You don't need to bring a lot of baggage into a marriage. Consider all the baggage that you're going to inherit before you marry them. Before you agree to marry somebody, find out if they have baggage. And if they do, how much baggage they got, what kind of baggage they got. And they got a little bitty bag that's this size, or if they got a whole slew of suitcases full of stuff. Baggage into a marriage or into a relationship before you get married can cause multiple problems financially, spiritually, mentally, physically. It can be all sorts of havoc in your life, and you can nip it if you just do some checking out. And don't put blinders on when people that know them say, now look, I want to tell you this. I don't want to hear it. You're lying, this and that. Don't do that. Say, well, okay, I'm open-minded. Tell me what you know. And I tell you, then you can check it out for yourself. But isn't it better, and let me close in saying this, isn't it better that if they've been married 3 or 4 times and they told you once to find it out now? Isn't it better if they've had restraining orders against them and they're a stalker and they've beaten women up and all that to find it out before you put a ring on your finger and get married? Tell you what, check the baggage out. Are they bringing baggage into the marriage? And if they are, how much are they bringing and what kind are they bringing? So you can determine what kind of marriage you're going to have. All right, this is just real life. This is real way people live. And so you need to find out about how much baggage they're bringing into a marriage. God loves you. I love you. If you don't like it, okay. If you do, give me a thumbs up. And please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your time. This time till next time, old Rev May signing off. You have a wonderful day and God bless you.